Amy Singleton, thank you so much for coming on the Inner Edison Podcast.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right. So in the green room before we got started and all that, we've been talking about a little bit what to talk about today. And we were saying about failure. I thought it was all about failure. It is. I mean, I want people to understand that our greatest accomplishments come from our greatest defeats. We learn from those and we move on and we make it better. It's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. No matter how much you try not to, something's going to happen. Prime example, my industry, I'm in the mortgage industry, doing really well. All of a sudden, they get a new president in, decides to cut down some pipeline. I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying what happened. Next thing you know, 5% higher in interest rates destroys what's going on, destroys the real estate and the mortgage industry companies wide. It's not the actual real estate, what's going on with values, but just the amount of companies that are around. Nobody saw that. You couldn't plan for that. You could plan to a certain point, but you can't plan for that kind of stuff. So
that's right.
I don't mind making my own mistakes, but when somebody else does it for me, that's a problem for me.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But we can learn from the mistakes of others. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Some of us can. Some of us can. Some of us got to screw it all up on our own, right?
How long you been in the media stuff, the agency stuff?
About 5 years. Actually, not a long time, not a super long time to be as far as we are along in it. But some of that failure from before has really helped us to guide and direct what we're doing now.
So take me back. What did you do that you had failure from before?
Oh,
that got you to here? I mean,
yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, it's kind of twofold. So partially my failures and partially the failures of my husband and partner. So his failures were it's successful and failing in owning home service businesses. So he owned a large paint contracting company back in the early 2000s. They had over 10% of the new housing market in Oklahoma City. Very high level homes, beautiful homes, expensive homes, like great, tons of work, 110 employees. But then a little thing called 2008 happened. Yep. And no homes were being built. And that entire business model was wrapped up in serving one particular type of client, which was new home builds. And that was no longer happening. So talk about a complete failure and a shift in what we were having to do in business. And so that helps lead and guide us in our next painting company that we owned and exiting and selling that successfully this past year, as well as learning how to market and who to market to and who we wanted to serve in our new business. For me, I'm a registered nurse by trade. I was doing open heart surgeries up until about 2012 when the failures of my health came to me. Failure of my marriage, failure of my own health. I had a huge setback in my personal life and had to leave my nursing career. And that led to a whole nother series of failures where I became a completely out of control alcoholic and really had almost zero control or purpose in my life. And so when I met my new partner and husband that we'll be together 6 years on Christmas Eve later this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We were looking for something to solve. We were looking for a problem to solve in our community. And, based on my talents and experience, his talents and experience in owning businesses, and my being drawn to the media and performance and stuff in my past and history, I knew that I would be able to speak and talk and communicate to people. And he was like, who I spent like so much money with in my businesses? Angie's List, Home Advisor, digital marketers that built me websites, promised me this, never delivered that. We can do that better. So we dug in and started paying experts to teach us what we needed to know to do this job. And the rest has absolutely been history. We're helping hundreds of small businesses from coast to coast solidify themselves online to bring in the leads and the lifeblood of their business.
And that's in the last 6 years? How long is that? So, all right.
Yeah, since 2019.
So who's your perfect client?
Our perfect client is a home service business, most usually. We have a few different types of clients we work with, but we do not niche down to only one type of client based on the previous failure. But we do a lot of work with home service clients, so painting companies, roofers, plumbers, electricians, people like that. They're typically 5 years or more in business, at least $1 million in revenue or more, and want to scale. Also, we work with a lot of medical industry clients, clinics and med spas and physicians, doctors, chiropractors, eye and ear doctors like that, because I speak their language, and medical people are just a little weird like that. They definitely want someone who understands what they are going through in their clinics and in their practice. And then we have several attorneys and soft services, what I would consider soft services like CPA and other business service type clients.
So do you guys use high level?
We do
So
extensively.
that's what it sounded like. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For ourselves internally and for our clients.
We have to. I mean, it makes more sense than anything else. I mean,
it's the best.
Everything. If you want something to let's say I want to do this. Oh, you can do it here. Shocking.
Yeah. Like literally almost everything you need to do can be done there. I love that tool.
Yeah. I've switched over to it, and I know a bunch of people who switched over to it. So,
and cheaper than a lot of other alternatives as well.
Oh, I mean, even scheduling for my podcast, I use Candly or whatever that one is, right? And that's like $90 some a year. You can do it through Go High Level, set up all these different things, and it's no cost.
Right. Yeah, that's what I use. That's what we use now for sure.
Yeah.
You don't have to have all the third party stuff anymore.
Right. And I still have Calendly, but it's only because I can't cancel yet because it's not done until March.
Yeah. I know who's moving everything over and saving $100 a year in the new year.
I already moved it over. It's just I have a few people left on Inner Edison from that, and then a couple people like I don't want to do this week because it's too close to Christmas, so I'm out of here and I'll do it next year. I'm like, now I still got to do it for another month.
I know. That's how it goes.
But so besides high level, you do a lot of helping them set up their website, set up other stuff. What do you do?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we do full service branding, logo development. We are the largest story brand certified agency in the world. This past year, we went through that certification to be able to tell the story of a business and that marketing messaging language that's so important. So we do branding.
Stop right there. Go back to that storyboard because I don't think a lot of people understand that. So explain what
story
that is.
Okay,
story
so
brand.
there's an author.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. There's an author named Donald Miller, who is a complete and total genius. If you have a small business, I highly suggest consuming everything he's put out, period. The book I'm specifically referring to is called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And it's a book that anybody can just pick up and read. And you can gain a pretty clear understanding of how to develop that language on your own. But they also offer a certification course to individuals and agencies, which our agency, Height Digital, went through this past year. And it's really just teaching us or the reader a framework of how to tell a story from the perspective of their ideal client and highlighting that client as a hero in the story versus what most businesses do, which is tell their story. Like, I started this plumbing company with my great grandfather did it with two pieces of bubble gum and a rubber band in 19. Everybody's asleep. They don't know. You're not solving my problem. They're moving on. Like, there's a place for that language and people want to know your story of the business, but it's absolutely not on your homepage. It's not in the verbal networking pitch you give when you're standing up at the Chamber of Commerce. That's not the right language. So developing a story around that ideal customer and putting them at the center so that they can hear themselves in that story and do business with them.
Right. And also you have to, what a lot of people don't really understand is there's two brands. There's the company brand and then there's the owner brand or there's multiple brands. And I had a lady I knew for years and I was trying to explain that to her years ago. It's like, you don't understand. I'm in the mortgage industry. There is the company and there is me. There's two separate brands here. I don't care really about the company and neither does anybody else. They care about me. And that's right. What people need to understand is they care about you. That's why you need to build your brand as much as you build a company brand, because you could always sell that company or close it up or whatever happens, but you still have all you, and then you can go do it again. So.
Yeah, you have your own loyal following, and that is absolutely something that each of us do. At least in marketing, most of us do that. But a lot of business owners, I think, are finally starting to catch on and understand that having their personal brand can help them to build authority in their space, not just for their business.
Now you're still in my line, because that's what I'm all about. Because I was the best kept secret. Yeah. And that people would say, you're the best kept secret. And I'm like, I'm tired of being the best kept secret. So I got on radio.
Start talking about me. Whisper it to everyone you know.
Well, I got on radio, local radio, talk radio, and talked about, had a show and I still do. going on 5 years, but and that's whatever you need to do. I was on another podcast earlier and the guy's like, what would you tell my people to do? I'm like, do something consistently.
Yeah.
Should I start a podcast? Sure. Should I do it daily? Sure. It just depends on what you want to do. Yeah.
If you want
Not
that to
every,
be your entire full-time job, sure.
well, I do. So I do a lot of lives, but then I
Yeah.
turn those into podcasts and I do them.
Yeah.
I do a daily one, which sounds like a lot. And the guys, how do you do that? There's so much AI stuff out there, so much
Yeah.
stuff that's there that makes it so easy now. I'm handing it completely off in January to a V8 because and this is what you need to do. And I know this is about you, but you need to figure out how you want it to be. Go through that just like on high level, right?
Yeah.
Once you figured out high level and figure out, then you're able to tell other people and set up
Yes.
other people and what do you want done? You kind of know what it is. Same thing here. That's what I've been working on for the past 3 months, how I want it done exactly. Cause I'm that type of person. I was hands off for so long and they didn't do it the way I wanted it done.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you using tools like Descript or one of these? I mean, they're just
I
blowing
use
my
Cast
mind.
Magic.
Okay.
Have you
Yeah.
heard of Cast Magic?
I haven't.
Oh, forget this. Yeah, I mean, if you depending on what you use, I use StreamYard, so I don't have Descript built in. So because like Squadcast and Descript are the same now, right? And
Okay.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of that. But Cast Magic, I was explaining this to somebody else. If you use Chat GPT and prompts to like here's my podcast now, this is a new guest and you do this huge prompt to have it done. Cast Magic already has those prompts in there to where everything you want, all the way down to a newsletter, you name it, it's all in there. And if there's one thing you're missing, you can go over to the Magic tab, tell it what you want, and from there forward, every single one of them will have that again.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, so many tools. There's almost I mean, other than just the lack of knowledge, there's almost no excuse anymore, right?
well, when a year ago I found Chat GPT and I was using it a lot, and it was all, and I'm telling people the problem with it is it's limited by you.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's totally limited by you. And if you don't
That's right.
ask it right, you're not going to get the right outflow. And
Mhm.
most people
Yeah.
can't ask it the right way. So
That's
go
right.
get the prompts, go do something else and figure it out.
Yeah. You got to learn how to drive the tools. Like one of my designers yesterday was like, it's fine. I'm not worried about being taken over because people will have to actually know what they want in order to tell it what they want. And people don't know what they want. They just know what they don't like. That's it.
No, it's just all these tools do is make it easier for you to do your job.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because you're right. People don't know who their perfect avatar, or whatever you want to call it, perfect client, perfect avatar. They have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Right. And yes, there's ways to figure that out, but you need to figure that out or you're just throwing money away.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I'm sorry. You running this podcast?
No.
I'm just kidding. All right. We were back to understanding what you're trying to do before you hand it off to somebody else. That's just what I was talking about.
Oh,
But
yeah.
let's get back to
So
you. I kind of got off on a whole tangent there. Sorry.
no, that's great. Good conversation. So we specialize in that branding, messaging language, websites, building websites, redesigning WordPress websites. We do everything in WordPress, with the exception of a few e-commerce that people want Shopify for, which we will do. And then we really specialize in SEO, search engine optimization, ranking the things. And then of course for our clients that come on board for an engagement like SEO or paid advertising, we're always trying to get them into our high level, because one of the things that's missing from SEO specifically is faster leads. SEO is a long-term process and it absolutely does work, but sometimes people are like, I just need more leads quicker. So we are using a combination of a few tools, including high level chat and some other things to enact some database reactivation campaigns where the AI is leading the potential client all the way up to the point of sale or the point of appointment. And that's been very, very exciting to watch that happen for our clients.
And I have a question. Have you been using the new AI that they had, or do you still use the old? Did you create your own AI bots?
There are a few customized things and then a couple other just attached tools. But yes, it's very well trained to our to our clients
Because
and
it
what
seems
they're
like
doing.
the new one they just came out with is not as trained. I mean, you got to train it, but it doesn't seem like where if you've ever seen people create the other AI bots, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is, and it breaks it all the way down.
Yeah.
Um, have you had good luck with the new one?
Yeah. So
Okay.
far, I mean, there's not enough data yet to
Right.
really know for sure, but so far we're loving what we're experiencing with it.
Because I ran into an insurance company I had to deal with in my industry. And then as soon as I heard this, they said, we record your message. Right. I was like, and then they did a couple, I'm like, oh, you're using high level. Uh-huh. Yeah. We love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause they got one number goes to everybody, every text, everything's put in one place. And yeah,
Yeah. It's nice.
but
Love
that's
it.
not a podcast on high level. That's not what it's just about you. And you talked about your failures to this point, and I'm not saying, but they're not good enough. I'm just saying that where do you see? I mean, you've learned so much from. Would you say a lot of the problems, like besides what you said, you had all your eggs in one basket. You put it in multiple baskets, but you also have to be careful not to be in too many baskets. How did you pick the industry? I know the medical is you. I know the
Yeah.
housing stuff is your husband. But how did you pick the other stuff like attorneys and all that?
It really just started off by, we had such a wide smattering of clients. We were just paying attention to the ones that like we were able to get the most for, and really just sought out who we were having the most success with, really is the bottom line of that. It happened by accident at first. And then we just followed the success and followed, success leaves clues. So we're just follow that and what's happening, what's working, just do more of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for the past year, I've been trying to find an expert in high level.
Yeah.
And this is
Her
funny
name
or
is
not.
Melissa Blair.
Is that on your
That's
side?
who you want. Yeah, no, she's not with me. She's a part of my mastermind, but she does a lot with high level.
Yeah.
She won like 4 of their awards at the summit like a couple months ago. She's very good.
Well, I'm in Rotary. I'm the president of my Rotary. Come to find out, one of the guys that I have set up who was on my board, I talked to him about. He has like a number 9 code. He's like
Nice.
2019. He was like one of the 9th person to buy it, and he's been dealing with it for since then. I'm like, you're like me. You're the best kept secret. You can't be this anymore, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't be a secret. People need to know.
He ought to be the right guy then.
He seems like it, but we'll see. I mean, there's stuff that I've learned how to do more just because using it. I use it for all my social media now, and a lot of people go, "Well, you shouldn't." Depends on what you're trying to do, right? Maybe some of your reels don't, but I mean, for my consistency that I want to put out, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
And do I want to do that part of my job? No, but I did want to learn how I wanted to do it because for over a year, I had an agency handling all my social media stuff. They were posting all the time, and it was expensive. Very expensive. And I'm like, I'm just not getting the response I want. And then I took it over, and then I used a couple of the softwares that was out there, like Opus Pro. And one of my videos went viral right away. I was like, what the heck?
Really?
Yeah. It was like for me, 740 some thousand, views, which, that was like, what the heck? And then I also found out, you probably found this too, is I tell people, if you have a hater, engage in them.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Because that traction is going to be greater than anything else, because nice people don't do that and they don't get it moving. So
that's right.
Haters are great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you can look away from the comments long enough, they're great. I got called this ET looking bee one time. ET. Like, okay, well, I'll take that over. I used to weigh 300 pounds. So I guess you could have called me Jabba the Hutt or something else. I mean, I don't know. ET was at least then. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a physical attack. I mean, mine wasn't so much. They were telling me I'm an idiot. I have no idea what I was doing. This doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. And it was funny because I just said, really? And that kept them going. And then everybody came in and said, it worked. I've done it. It's worked. People will come to helping you. So
get them talking back, yes, thank you. Every time you comment back, this is helping me. So good job.
Exactly.
That's right.
And I think that's because I probably would say 40% of the comments were negative out of the 100, so I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. That's fine. Yes. It helped me. And then I started getting people reaching out for me to do stuff for their company. Right.
Aha. Yeah, exactly.
And that's
get in front of the eyes. Doesn't matter what the eyes are, what they think.
Sorry. So I'm trying to think of where we're going with this, and I don't mean that wrong with a podcast. Usually I'm able to grab a little bit more. You're a little different person. And you talked about your failures right away, like they were nothing. And that's great. Thank you so much. Because a lot of people don't want to talk about them, or they talk about something that's real small. And, I know for a fact that you've done bigger, because I've had one person on here said it was a certain dollar amount. I'm like, I've lost that on 2 of my processing files. Somebody was processing and messed up, and I ended up paying for that. And
Wow.
that's so, I mean, it just depends on what those numbers are. It's a different thing to everybody.
Yeah.
What are people not doing that they should do when it comes to what you guys do for people? That you step in and go, okay, you should have been doing this. This is not what you're doing. Let's figure this out. What's your number one thing you run into?
Man, as far as a business, just not putting out enough content, not putting up enough valuable content, not answering the questions that people are asking as it relates to their industry, whether that be on their socials, on their blog, on their website, on their homepage, on their personal channels. Just being too quiet about what it is that they do, and just not being consistent enough when they do finally undertake those efforts. They
All right.
try something for a month, like, okay, I'm going to blog, once a week for a month, and then they stop. I'm going to post every day on social media for a month, and then they stop. And so, things take time on the internet. People think if I make one reel, or, post one reel, and it doesn't get that 750,000 views, like, oh, well, that didn't work, so I'm just going to stop.
Right.
I think that's the biggest mistake that people are making. They're not doing enough of the right things consistently.
So how many times should they post on social media then?
For a business channel, at least, 3 to 5 times a week, at least, still post, a couple of stories a day, and, at least a reel a day if they can, if, few times a week if possible. For a personal channel, for someone trying to build their personal brand, every day, Monday through Friday, twice a day. Once you get that cadence of once a day, I usually do it around 7 a.m., 5 p.m. Those are kind of the times I've seen that work best for me. Depends on who your audience is, though. Those are the business owners that I deal with. They're just getting ready to go into work. They're just about to leave work. That's the times they're scrolling. So I would absolutely say daily on your personal channels, and multiple stories and reels if possible.
All right. So you're saying, all right, the stories go to people that your friends, basically, right? People, I don't know if people understand both of those. Reels go to everybody.
Yeah.
And you're saying to post still stuff at least once a day, and then reels at least twice a day, and then stories twice a day.
Yeah, at least. I do probably more stories than that, but those are just for people that don't know the difference. So like a story is kind of what's maybe something that's not worth making a whole post about, but it's what you're doing throughout your day. Maybe something else that you have coming up, reiterating things that you've posted about in the past, or that are coming up in the future. And only to, like you said, your followers or your audience. And the other stuff on a public profile will go to everyone.
Do you use High Level to post those, or do you do them separately?
I don't. I do everything manually.
It's a lot of work.
It is. It is a lot. But you can use, you can actually, Facebook now has a, for personal accounts, you were able to go and schedule posts out, right? Like from the Meta Business Manager, the way you can for a business page. But there are some now from mobile, you can go and, as if you're going to make a post, and then there's an option, if you've noticed, next, and then there's an option to schedule that post. So I've been testing out some of that type of scheduling. But I've just found that I have better engagement whenever I do it from the platform myself. But I do have it's not like I'm coming up with what I'm going to post in the moment. I have an entire calendar that we pull from, and I just pause for a few minutes to make that post at the time I want to make it.
Yeah, I got to a point because my Meta was having issues. I don't know if you're posting through there for a while on the desktop. So I'd have windows open, different multiple windows of post. All right, let's post, and then, come back later.
Yeah. I've been having a problem lately where when I post from Instagram over to Facebook, a reel, Instagram to Facebook, the text doesn't show up on Facebook anymore.
Yeah. They're actually saying not to
Random.
do that anymore. Not to do
Yeah.
Instagram to Facebook with the reel, just go directly with the reel to Facebook. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this, but have you noticed? I know I bring it up again, but high level. I was trying to post a reel, and it's like you can only do that to Instagram. I'm like,
Yeah.
but what happened to Facebook? Or can't I post it to Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know what's
always
happening with
something,
them right
but
now.
I
There's
only
always something,
use
right?
I use high level for posting for the still stuff, all
Mhm.
the that kind of stuff, and my testimonials and my reviews. That's what because I program those out 30 to 60 days,
Yeah.
but any reels I do separately just because it's all current information.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only thing I don't do much is stories. Maybe I'll have to fix that.
Throw in what you're having for lunch at least.
I guess it is to your personal brand, your personal page. So it is just your
For sure.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love what you said about that personal brand versus the business brand, knowing that not necessarily your business's brand is looking for the exact people that you're looking for is valuable. I have a friend in the LGBT community who um, is selling a product that would primarily be geared toward um, let's say Oklahoma rednecks, basically like middle-aged white dudes that like to go hunting and fishing and camping. And so the brand is geared mostly toward those people, but their personal brand is geared toward the gays because the gays are now also becoming interested in this thing. And they recognize that we don't want to alienate our, straight hetero hunters, but we also want to include these people. So including that outlier on your personal channel can be really, really valuable when you want to directly target a certain market, but not necessarily have your business attached to that market very strongly.
You mean not like what Bud Light did?
Yeah, bad move. Totally bad move.
But I don't know. I was talking about this the other day. It's like, okay, how much money have they spent to get? I
God.
don't know if you've seen the new show Reacher on Amazon, but in the
Mm-hmm.
bar scenes, that's all they have is Bud in there. And then
Really?
and then they did the commercial with Peyton Manning and I can't think of his name. And they're in the bar and they're beer around for everybody, and they're throwing them around and everything. And it's like, okay, how much money are you
Oh God.
spending to get your brand back to where it was
Yeah.
because of this? And that's I tell stay out of those franges. Don't even
Right.
go there.
Yeah.
Just go to your normal people, focus on what you're doing. If you want to be political, do it on your own time, but don't do it
That's
with your
right.
company.
100%. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Said it perfectly.
Yeah. I mean,
Big
because I'm
fail.
a
Massive.
yeah, yeah, extreme, the worst. I'm on talk radio. I do Power Talk 1360, and it's about real estate and finance, but I fill in for a bunch of other people just because I like to practice.
Yeah.
And I'm able to talk politics there, which I would not ever talk politics on my other stuff. I mean, I do on
Right.
on the radio stuff and also on my real estate stuff because it's all kind of connected to
Hmm.
a certain point. But I'm okay with it. The people I want to come to me are okay with it also. If you don't like what I do,
Right.
that's okay. Go
That's
find
right.
somebody else to listen to.
That's right. There's billions of people on this planet. Not all of it. We don't have time to be friends with all of you anyway. We don't want to.
But you
We
want
just
to
want to
attract the
attract who
right.
we want to
Yeah.
attract.
Yeah. You
That's
want
right.
people to be attracted to you that you want to work with. If
That's
they
right.
don't want to work with you, that's okay. There's other people.
That's
And
right.
there's a lot of them. And just over time, you'll figure all that out. But it is like you I find somebody who can help you grow your business, especially handling the leads. The biggest problem most companies have is handling those leads. They'll want to get them, but then they don't do anything with them.
Yeah.
Only 15% of the lead that you're working with is going to buy now. The other 85% of them is going to take up to a year to turn into an actual transaction.
Yeah.
When I used to sell by the phone, I would call people that, as a transaction, and I would leave a message, which kids these days don't do, leave a message on voicemail and say, I'm going to keep calling you until you tell me you don't want me to call you anymore because I want to make sure I didn't leave you out. And
Yeah.
I'd had many people call me and go, hey, man, thank you so much for leaving a message. I've been busy for the last 2 months. I
Right.
appreciate it. And now I'm ready
Yes.
to move forward.
Yes. So many business owners and especially like coaches and people that I talk to, it's like they're afraid they're going to bother somebody. And you're like, no, dude, they are not thinking about you at all because you've slipped their mind. You have to slide back in and contact those people and nurture those leads. I mean, some of our sales cycle has been 2.5 years long from the time I met someone to the time they signed the contract and went forward, giving so much value and constantly checking in and commenting on their Facebook and doing all the things that it takes to nurture those people along. It goes a really, really long way. I think you're absolutely right. People, they don't care for their leads enough, especially right at the beginning. Answer your phone, return the phone call the form person, like whoever submitted a form, call them back like within 5 minutes, or you're going to lose that lead. And then
Right.
the long-term follow-up too is just extremely lacking. That's something that every business owner can do that will help them today.
Right. When my phone calls me, I have it tell me it's the bread and butter calling me.
I love it.
I tell it to people like,
it's the bakery, bro. Pick up.
you bring home it's bread and butter. It's an old
That's
statement.
right.
You have to be older to
I love
understand that.
it.
Yeah, but
I
it's just
love it.
to remind you this is where the money's at. It's coming through. So, and I actually have a separate phone just for that. It's right here for that, and because I have my business and other stuff, but I also have that separate one just for my stuff when people try to contact me through my website, my stuff, my book, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we went over a bunch of things today. Is there anything you want to leave my audience with that they should know? I mean, besides what you have already, but I mean, what did we not touch? This is what you do all day long. It's not what I do all day long.
Yeah. Get your story straight, get your messaging very clear, go and read Building a Story Brand. If you need help with that, we can absolutely help you out. And I'd love to offer everybody a free website audit, because we don't know what we don't know. And if we don't know where we stand, it's really hard to know how to move forward. So at amysingleton.net, there's a form at the bottom of that page. People can go over, enter their information, just include your URL, and I will have my team go and record a quick 3-5 minute video for you, showing you areas of opportunity on your website that can help you do better and get more leads through your website.
All right, Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show. And thanks for giving them your website to get a hold of you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you
my
being
pleasure.
here. All right.
Thanks so
Everybody
much.
make it a great day. And thank you again, Amy, for being here.